Gloria Arroyo versus Cory Aquino. So Dad, ngayon let's compare the two only female presidents of the Philippines in the whole history as of to date. So these were the only two female presidents that were able to become president during the whole history of the Philippine Republic. Now, both of them became presidents due to special circumstances. Si Gloria Arroyo by taking over the presidency when President Estrada was people powered out of office, and Cory Aquino also the same way when the former president was also people powered out of office. So both female presidents became presidents through people power. So now let's compare the two. What are the differences? What are the similarities?
Well, number one, the similarities is that, as you said, no, they both became presidents after a people power revolution, no, yung tawag natin, no. Like for example, during the time of Cory Aquino, she became the president through a revolutionary government.
Yes.
No? So because of that time, there was an election issue, and then Marcos left the country. No, so he went to Hawaii. So because of that, Cory took over as the president after
Yes.
the People Power won. Then Gloria Arroyo also more or less in the same scenario. She took over as the president after ERAP stepped down from office. No, so then it became People Power too, because of People Power too that ERAP stepped down from office because the impeachment that time was not yet done, was not yet completely terminated. No, but during that period there was a People Power too, and then that somehow forced ERAP to step down from office. So that's the time also that Gloria Arroyo became president. So those are the similar scenarios in terms of circumstances. No? And then number two, siguro similar scenario in terms of circumstances during their presidency, during the time of President Cory Aquino, there were several coup attempts also. If I'm not mistaken, there were 9 major coup attempts, no, from the military side or from renegades of the military, no. So mga former armed forces members or mga current members of the armed forces during that time who somehow started a coup d'etat. No? So there were 9 that were launched during that time of President Cory Aquino. During the time of President Gloria Arroyo also, there were also some military kumbaga adventurism that happened, no, that was led by Senator Trillanes that time when he was a lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken. So it was led by his team and together with several young officers who had that Oakwood mutiny na sinasabi natin. No, they went to Oakwood Hotel in Makati, which is now another hotel now,
Ascot.
no? Ascot Hotel now. So it's in Glorieta area. So then of course that was followed by another attempt, no, in Peninsula naman, no. So there was a Peninsula mutiny also followed after that Oakwood mutiny, siguro a year or so away, no, from during that time. So both female presidents have encountered those kind of military adventurism.
Challenges in leadership.
Challenges, no, which is only happened during the female presidency because during pagka male ang president, pag lalaki yung presidente, normally they don't have that kind of attempt, no? So for whatever reason,
So far, yung mga previous male presidents, walang ibang coup d'etat except during the female presidents. Ganun ba?
yeah, except for siguro during the time of President Marcos Sr., no, when that time former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile had that kind of Camp Aguinaldo issue, no, where which was supported by the church, Cardinal Sin, and also by former President Fidel Ramos, who was then the Philippine Constabulary head, no. So, but again, that I would say that's more of people power, no, than rather than military adventurism, no. So iba yung scenario. But again, because of that, pwede natin sabihin na in a macho society like the Philippines, mga misogynist pa rin basically ang ating culture dito, no. So that's the reason siguro why pagka babae nakaupo, china-challenge ng mga militar o mga renegades ng military. No? So yun ang mga similarity na dinaanan nila pareho. No? So yun ang mga challenges nila as a female president. No? Tapos ang difference naman nila is in terms of work style, no? Or presidential management approach. No? During the time of President Cory, she espoused yung democracy. No? She was the parang icon of the democratic rule coming back to the Philippines because we came from a martial law regime for almost 15 years, no.
Yes.
So that's the difference, no. So Cory Aquino became the icon of democracy, but her work style is a little bit different, no, because she was more of a housewife becoming a president, being the wife of former Senator Benigno Aquino, who became a hero because he was assassinated during that time of martial law. So her work style is more of 8 to 5, no. So she said that so many times that she will only work 8 to 5, and then at the same time during weekends she doesn't want to be disturbed as much as possible. So yung kanyang work ethic, no? But ang advantage naman ni Cory Aquino is because she really adhered to the democratic processes. So that's why she was respected and she was beloved by the people, no? During the time naman of President Gloria Arroyo, she handled the management of the presidency in a more different approach, no, methodology, no. She has hands-on management approach, methodical, and at the same time she is siguro lingid sa kaalaman ng marami, hindi nila alam na si President Gloria Arroyo naglatag ng mga economic framework na napakinabangan ng sambayanan, no, ng bayan, no, kaya biglang dumami yung mga BPOs dito.
Yes.
At the same time lumago yung ekonomiya during the time of President Noynoy Aquino right after Gloria Arroyo because she laid down the foundation for a progressive economic platform, no.
Exactly.
So and at the same time nagkaroon ng mga fiscal discipline, no, kaya yung debt to GDP ratio noon medyo bumaba, no. So from 60+% bumaba ng around 40+%, no. Nagpatuloy yan kahit anong panahon ni Noynoy Aquino because she laid down the foundation or the framework, no, and the approach, no, the methodology. So hands-on management approach, very technocratic ang kanyang kumbaga operation. At the same time, she's a very hardworking president. I witnessed that myself because in some occasions I was invited, also privileged to be invited to some of the state visits to different countries by the president, and I witnessed how hardworking she is, no. So talagang nakikita mo na dedicated, walang time limit yan. She works really during the wee hours of the day just to make sure that she can really operate or manage the different issues within the country or the challenges of the country. So yun ang mga different approaches nila in terms of leadership, in terms of presidential approach, no. And of course ang strength ni President Gloria Arroyo is more on the administratorship. Like sinabi natin, there are 3 major roles, no. Leadership, administratorship, and statesmanship, no. So she's very strong in administratorship, no. Si Cory siguro is more strong on the statesmanship, no, because she is really promoting democratic system or processes during that period of time, no. And that's the reason why bumalik yung mga election process. The Constitution, 1987 Constitution was framed during her time. So yun ang mga pagkakaiba nila in terms of management, in terms of the presidential approach or methodology that they implemented.
But now, looking at Philippine society, the only 2 times na nagkaroon ng female presidents was because of special circumstances like people power. Pero so far, as we saw in the previous election when a strong female candidate came into the presidential election, natambakan siya si former Vice President Leni Robredo. So, fighting toe-to-toe so far, mga female candidates so far have not shown any real success except through special circumstances. What can you see in the Philippine society?
Well, number one, we cannot totally say that is a general rule, no? Because during the time of Gloria Arroyo, she ran for re-election in 2004, no, against Fernando Poe Jr., who's the king of Filipino movies during that time, no.
Yes.
So somehow she won, no, over FPJ in spite of the fact that FPJ is more popular during that time or very popular during that time. So we cannot say that totally the female candidates are normally less winnable, no. But again, because of the misogynistic characteristic of the male population in the Philippines, the tendency is they prefer a male if there is a better one, no, a better candidate, no. Even in the US we saw that, di ba? Kahit nasa US, no, wala pang nananalong babae na pangulo sa US, no. The best one that could have made it was Hillary Clinton, no. And then the second one that tried for it is the former Vice President Kamala Harris, di ba? But she was unsuccessful against Donald Trump, di ba? So again, because the nature is that people will look up more to a male leader because they want a strong leader to lead the country or to manage the nation. So I guess that's the primary issue here, no? That given the same capabilities and the same popularity, the tendency is for the voters to lean towards more a male candidate rather than a female candidate.
Now, talking about Gloria Arroyo and Cory Aquino, how would you say did the Philippine society improve? In which aspects did it improve? We know that Gloria Arroyo really fixed the economy, which laid the foundation for the Noynoy Aquino to also continue the economic upside. On Cory Aquino naman, what was her main focus in improving Philippine society?
Well, basically, during the time of Cory Aquino, yung ngayon, the institutionalization of the different government agencies,
I
no?
see,
Professionalization of the different entities within the government. But of course, the weakness there is parang nawala yung administratorship side, no? Parang kulang. That's the reason why nagkaroon tayo ng mga blackouts at brownouts during those period of time, no? Because napabayaan, no, yung mga administrative side ng managing the government, no? Kaya during the time of President Ramos, he was the one who was really trying to find a solution how to solve that lack of electricity or power supply in the nation, no? So yung mga power generation that started with the time of President Ramos. Siguro during the time of Cory Aquino, what we can say is dahil sa kanya kay Cory Aquino, dahil kay dating Pangulong Cory Aquino, na ibalik yung mga democratic processes sa ating gobyerno at sa ating pamahalaan. So napakahalagang bagay, no? Kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng malayang pahalalan ngayon, mga politika and everything is because she really instilled that in the political process, no? So that's the good thing that she has done. During the time naman of Gloria Arroyo, President Gloria Arroyo, somehow she managed or she was able to successfully implement a very progressive economic platform for the Philippines, no? So that's the reason why yung utang natin bumaba compared dun sa GDP natin o total production natin, bumaba yung mga utang natin kaya medyo lumuwag ang ating ekonomiya no. Tapos may mga ups and downs pa rin along the way because of the different crises, no, sa US, pero the platform is quite strong, no? Kaya makikita natin even the dollar to peso noon, if people can recall, during the time of Gloria Arroyo, bumaba siya ng almost 40 pesos to $1, no?
Yes.
Umakyat yan during the time of President Estrada in 1998 ng around 57, 58 pesos to $1. During the time of Gloria Arroyo, talagang bumaba yan up to 40 pesos at nag-touch pa nga sa 39 peso something. 39.5 yata, 39.7 during the time of Gloria Arroyo. Kasi na-manage yung pangungutang, yun ang mga hindi siguro naintindihan ng iba nating kababayan. During the time of Gloria Arroyo, she managed the economic system and the economic framework in such a way na talagang maging matibay ang ating ekonomiya. Kaya nga kanyang tema nun, Strong Republic, di ba? In terms of financial and economic capability.
Si Cory, di ba, coming from martial law, marami siyang minanang mga utang din, no, from the previous administration. How did she manage the debt naman during the time of Cory Aquino?
Well, in fairness to President Cory Aquino, hindi niya ni-repudiate yung mga utang natin. When say repudiate, hindi niya tinalikuran. No? Kasi nga, pag tinalikuran mo, lalong masisira yung kredibilidad ng ating bansa, no? Saka ng ating pamahalaan. So, pinanagutan din niya yun. Tapos, ni-restructure nila yung mga loans, debts. At nagkataon naman, kasi during that time, dahil nga tayo nagkaroon ng parang bagong demokrasya, marami rin mga international institution na sumuporta sa atin. No? Kasi nga, parang gusto nila tayong bigyan ng pagkakataon makabangon muli, no? So yun naman ang maganda na ipamalas ng ating dating Pangulong Corazon Aquino kasi nga nakita nila na democratic ang kanyang proseso at ginagalang niya ang rule of law, kaya nga talagang sinuportahan din siya ng mga international lending institution during that time.
Yung mga utang ba bumaba din during the time of Cory Aquino in terms of GDP ratio?
Well, that time, hindi talaga siya bumaba, no? Kasi nga talaga napakalaki ng utang. Taka yung GDP natin, no, medyo mababa pa rin.
Kasi bumaba yung GDP in general.
Kasi because maraming ang kudita, no, na hindi naman niya kasalanan, pero may mga military adventurism during that time, kaya nga medyo naapektuhan din. No? Kaya medyo, although mahina pa yung ekonomiya noon, pero naging hopeful ang mga tao. Kasi yung optimism can really help a nation in terms of economic progress. No? If people are hopeful that there's a rule of law and there's democratic processes in place, siyempre mas merong mga investor na willing tumaya at sumugal, di ba? So yun ang mga advantage naman during the time of Corazon Aquino.
Now, talking about our favorite topic, education, let's compare how they focused on education kasi as I remember, Gloria Arroyo really made sure that English was the language of education here in the Philippines kasi previously nagkaroon ng mga multiple mga proposals na gawin yung mga mother tongue, gawin yung mga Tagalog dapat ang main language during the previous administrations prior to her, kaya nagkagulo-gulo yung mga generations back then, but Gloria Arroyo really institutionalized English para yung BPO sector and OFWs will have an easier time to be, hireable by the foreigners and magkakaroon silang global jobs, no? During the time of Cory naman, how did you see did she do her educational direction?
Well, during the time of Corazon Aquino kasi, basically, she just continued whatever was in place already. No? So, hindi niya talaga medyo binago yan kasi ang focus niya that time was democratic processes. So, hindi niya masyado nabigyan ng focus yan. No? Tapos number two, siyempre, economic direction niya is really hindi rin ganun ka-focus. No? Kasi nga, she's really busy trying to solve the military problems during that time.
I see,
So, her focus was more on restoring democracy at the same time managing the turmoil in the segment of part of the armed forces of the Philippines. No? So yun ang kanyang mga naging main focus. No? Kay Gloria Arroyo naman, basically during the time of President Gloria Arroyo, ang main focus naman is strengthening the economic structure or framework of the Philippines. No? So pinapatibay niya, kaya nga pati education, binigyan nila ng malaking budget yan, at tapos at the same time, wala nga K-12 noon pero ang ang K-12 naman yan, na-introduce na lang yan during the time of President Noynoy Aquino, if I'm not mistaken. No? During that time, quality education ang tinutulak. No? Kaya nga kung titingnan mo, kaya maraming BPOs na nagtayo dito during that period, kasi nga during that time, mga graduates natin, na talagang maganda yung kanilang training at pati mga teachers natin. No? Pero medyo unti-unting napabayaan along the way, kaya nga medyo sumadsad yan, no? In terms of having good graduates. No? Tapos ngayon, meron pa yung mga mass promotion na tinatawag. No? Kaya nga lalong sumama. No? Kasi kahit na hindi marunong estudyante, pinapasa na lamang dahil na kulang sa classroom, kulang sa budget. So kaya nga, ipasa na lang para sa ganun makapasok din yung ibang estudyante. So nasira yung sistema, yung tamang proseso na dapat maitama ulit para na sa ganun magkaroon ng magandang kabuhayan yung ating mga kababayan.
And for those who are watching, yung mga mass promotion kasi, ito yung mga parang pinapasa na lang lahat pero walang bumabagsak para lahat happy, pero not necessarily competent enough for the next grade level yung mga bata. Kaya yun yung mass promotion na sinasabi dito. Now, talking about mass promotion, during the time of Cory and Jimmy, walang ganun, di ba?
Walang ganun. No? So talagang, if you don't make it, you fail, you have to repeat. No? So yun ang mga pagkakaiba lang. No? Kasi nga siguro biglang dumami rin ang populasyon natin, talagang hindi na makayanan ng budget, at saka yung mga budget nalulustay kung saan-saan. Kaya nga nagkakaroon tayo ng mga ganitong problema.
Yun nga napansin ko, ang dami mga graduates ngayon. Graduate nga sila on paper, pero hirap na hirap sila intindihin ang mga simpleng bagay na parang hindi pa yata sila hinog para mag-graduate. Unlike nung panahon na 2010 and the 90s, pag sinabing graduate, talagang alam mo, quality yung kanyang education. Yun din ba yung napansin mo, Dad?
Well, siguro, I will even go further than that. No? During our time, 1970s, 80s, no? During that time, if you're a graduate, definitely, your standing is a little much better. No? Ngayon kasi, comparatively, mukhang nawala talaga. No? In fact, but in fairness, there are still some universities who are really very strict with that. No? Kahit naman sa Cebu, nakikita natin, sa Iloilo, aside from some of the best schools in Metro Manila, yung mga graduates nila talaga naman yun ang gustong i-hire ng mga BPOs, no? Saka mga international institutions. Kasi they were able to maintain that standard of education. No? Hindi yung mass promotion, hindi yung kung pati mga teachers na kinukuha, hindi talaga bihasa sa tinuturo nila. Di ba? So that's why we still have some graduates na talagang with good quality education. So yun ang mga issues.
By and large?
By and large, siguro, right now, sinasabi nga natin, 1 out of 4 students are really not really qualified to graduate. In fairness, no? Sinasabi mo, 1 out of 4. So, in short, mayroon pa rin tayong mga 70 to 75% ng mga graduates natin na kahit naman somehow are capable, no? Kaya lang hindi nga with the proper skills din, no? Kasi nga kinakailangan i-match mo rin niya sa industry needs. Even if you're a graduate, but if your skills are not matched with the needs of the industry or the market demands, then definitely hindi ka rin mabibigyan ng magandang trabaho.
So yun yung mga kababayan, sinasabi namin na edukasyon pa rin ang solusyon sa pag-angat ng bawat Pilipino. Nakaangat ang Pilipinas dahil magandang edukasyon noon. Ngayon naman, kailangan umangat ang bawat Pilipino kung aayusin natin ang edukasyon. Tanggalin na yung mass promotion, tanggalin na yung K-12, focus on quality education, aangat ang bawat Pilipino. Yan ang tinutulak namin dito sa Ilocano Defenders Party List. Ako si Morgan Sain, yung coach ng bayan.
Ang hangarin namin maisulong ang reskilling, upskilling at right-skilling sa ating mga kababayan at sa mga ating mga mamayan para sa ganun magkaroon sila ng mas masaganang kabuhayan at mas matiwasay na kinabukasan. Ako po si Michael Sain, yung dad ng bayan.